6 months passed. The seasons changed on Talaris. The giant blue-green trees shed their outer bark and grew new layers. Life on the research station, harmonic convergence, continued, but without Hyun. Nari stood at the large viewing window in Lab 3 staring at the forest. The purple moss samples that Hyun had wanted to collect were now growing in neat rows under special lights. She had gathered them herself, 3 weeks after the accident. It had felt right somehow to finish what he had started. "Still thinking about the human?" Jin asked, walking into the lab. The Caraxian's rock-like skin glistened under the lab lights. Unlike Lumidians who glowed, Caraxians sparkled naturally. "His name is Hyun," Nari said quietly. Her skin dimmed with sadness. "And yes, I wonder how he is doing on Earth." Jin clicked his mouthparts together. "The station is not the same without him. Humans bring energy." The lab door slid open again. Director June walked in, his face serious but with a hint of something else. "Excitement? Nari, Jin, there's an announcement. Main hall in 10 minutes. Nari felt a flutter of curiosity. Important announcements were rare. The last one had been when the Galactic Council expanded their research funding for another 5 years. When she arrived at the main hall, almost all 24 remaining researchers were already there. The buzz of different languages filled the air as the universal translators worked to keep up with conversations. Director June stepped onto the small platform at the front of the room. Everyone quieted down. "I received a message from Earth Central Command this morning," he said. "I wanted to share it with all of you right away." Nari's skin began to glow brighter with anticipation. "Researcher Hyun is returning to Talaris. His transport ship will arrive tomorrow." The room erupted in a chaotic mix of sounds, clicks, whistles, vibrations, and words, as each species reacted to the news in their own way. Dr. D, who stood near Nari, made the low humming sound that Lumidians made when confused. "This cannot be correct," she said. His spinal injury was catastrophic. He should still be in recovery if he survived at all. Director June held up his hands for quiet. "I was surprised too. But the message is clear. Hyun has completed his medical treatment and rehabilitation. He is returning to finish his research contract." "But how will he function?" asked one of the Mosaurians, a slug-like being with 12 eyes. "Will he be in a mobility device? Will he need special care?" "The message didn't say," June replied. "I guess we'll find out tomorrow." That night Nari couldn't sleep. Her skin kept pulsing with light as her mind raced. On Lumidia, anyone with an injury like Hyun's would never recover. Their bodies simply weren't made to heal from such damage. Was it possible that humans were different? The next day, everyone gathered at the landing pad. The sleek transport ship from Earth descended slowly, its engines pushing away the morning mist. Nari stood with Dr. Day and Jin. Her skin glowed bright with nervousness. "The ship's medical officers will help him out," Dr. Day said, watching the ship's ramp extend. "I have prepared our medical bay for his ongoing care." The ship's door opened. Everyone waited to see medical staff appear with a mobility device carrying Hyun. Instead, a single figure appeared at the top of the ramp. It was Hyun himself, and he was standing on his own 2 feet. A collective gasp came from the gathered aliens as Hyun began to walk down the ramp. He moved carefully with a slight limp and wore a special back brace visible over his uniform. But he was walking, something that should have been impossible after his injury. Nari's skin flashed so bright, with shock that those standing near her had to look away. Hyun reached the bottom of the ramp and smiled at the stunned crowd. "Sorry I'm late," he said simply. Director June was the first to recover. He stepped forward and clasped Hyun's hand. "Welcome back. We didn't expect to see you walking." "Earth doctors are good at their jobs," Hyun said. Then his eyes found Nari in the crowd. His smile grew wider. "Very good," Dr. Day pushed forward, her medical scanner already in hand. "This is not possible," she said, running the device up and down Hyun's body. "Your T12 vertebra was completely crushed. The nerve damage was extensive." "Would you like to see my medical records?" Hyun asked, seeming amused by their shock. I brought them for your research database. Yes, Dr. Day said immediately. Now. The crowd moved into the station, following Hyun and Dr. Day to the medical bay. Nari stayed close, unable to take her eyes off Hyun. It seemed like magic that he was walking, talking, smiling. When she had last seen him, he had been broken and still. In the medical bay, Hyun sat on an examination table while Dr. Day connected his medical data chip to the station's computer. 3 surgeries, Dr. Day read aloud. Bone grafts, artificial vertebra implant, nerve regeneration therapy, muscle reconstruction. The alien doctor's skin pulsed with scientific curiosity. And this neural interface, she continued. It bypasses damaged nerve pathways? That's right, Hyun said. It's new technology. I was lucky to qualify for the trial program. But the pain must be constant, Jin said, looking at the detailed scans. Hyun nodded. Some days are better than others. The brace helps. And daily, exercises keep the muscles strong around the repair site. Dr. Day closed the file and looked at Hyun with new respect. On my world, we would have let you die peacefully. We would have considered it kinder than living with such an injury. Humans don't give up easily, Hyun said. We've noticed, Jin replied dryly. Director Jun stepped forward. Hyun needs rest after his journey. There will be time for more questions later. As the crowd dispersed, Nari stayed behind. When they were alone, her skin dimmed to the soft glow of serious conversation. I collected your moss samples, she said. They're in Lab 3. Hyun's face brightened. You did? Thank you. That means a lot. It was the least I could do, Nari said. After what you did for me. An awkward silence fell between them. There was so much to say, but neither knew where to start. Would you show me the samples tomorrow? Hyun finally asked. I'd like to see how they're doing. Of course, Nari said. Her skin brightened again. Rest well, Hyun, and I'm glad you came back. Later that evening, the station's alien researchers gathered in the common area. They spoke in hushed tones about what they had witnessed. The station AI calculated a 0.02% chance of him ever walking again, Dr. Day told the group, based on comparable injuries across all known sentient species. Humans are strange, said one of the Mazorians. They break easily, but they refuse to stay broken. Perhaps we have underestimated them, Jin added. Their bodies seem fragile compared to mine, but their will to recover. He trailed off, lost in thought. In his quarters, Hyun carefully removed his back brace and winced at the pain. The journey had been hard on his healing body. He took his medicine and did his evening stretches, just as the doctors on Earth had taught him. As he looked out his window at the Talaris forest, he thought about the look of wonder on Nari's face when she saw him walk down that ramp. It had made all the painful months of rehabilitation worth it. Tomorrow he would see the moss samples she had collected for him. Tomorrow he would begin his research again. And maybe, just maybe, he would begin something new with Nari as well. Across the station in her own quarters, Nari's skin glowed with a warm, steady light as she thought about Hyun's return. There was something different about him now, a quiet strength that went beyond his physical recovery. She looked at the small piece of bark she had kept from the branch that had fallen on him. She had meant it as a memorial. Now perhaps it could be a reminder of something else. The day she learned that humans were unlike any species she had ever known. 2 weeks passed since Hyun's return to the research station. He settled back into his work routine, though he moved more slowly than before. Each morning he spent an extra hour doing special exercises to strengthen his back muscles. The other researchers watched with interest, especially Dr. Day, who took notes for her medical research. In Lab 3, Hyun examined the purple moss samples under a scanner. The results made him smile. These are perfect, he told Nari, who worked at a station nearby. You collected them at exactly the right time. Nari's skin glowed bright blue with pleasure. I followed your research notes exactly. I'm grateful, Hyun said. Without these samples, I would have needed to wait another full season to continue my work. Nari moved closer to look at the scanner screen. What did you discover about the moss? It absorbs toxins faster than any plant on Earth, and it converts the toxins into oxygen. Yun pointed to colorful graphs on the screen. It could help clean the air on polluted planets. That's wonderful, Nari said. Her skin pulsed with excitement. Director June entered the lab, looking serious. Hyun, Nari, I need to speak with you both. They followed him to his office. Inside, a holographic map showed the northern forest region of Talaris. We've detected unusual magnetic readings in the north, June said, similar to what happened before the gravity fluctuation that caused Hyun's accident. Hyun felt a chill run down his spine. He rubbed the back of his neck where the neural interface connected to his repaired vertebra. Is another fluctuation coming? Nari asked, her skin dimming with concern. Maybe. We need more data. June pointed to a spot on the map. There's a research outpost here about 50 kilometers north. It has better equipment to measure the magnetic field. Someone needs to go there and activate the sensors. I'll go, Hyun said immediately. June frowned. Are you sure your back is strong enough? Hyun finished. I know that area well. I was studying it before my accident. I'll go with him, Nari said. Her voice was firm. June looked between them, then nodded. Take the small research vessel. If you leave this afternoon, you can reach the outpost before dark. Later, as they prepared the research vessel, Jin approached them in the hangar bay. Be careful, he said, his crystalline skin reflecting the hangar lights. The weather report shows electromagnetic storms forming in the north. We'll be fine, Hyun said, loading the last of their equipment. The outpost has strong shields. The research vessel was small but sturdy, designed to navigate Talaris's dense forests. Hyun piloted while Nari monitored the atmospheric readings. The magnetic levels are already higher than normal, she reported as they flew north. Through the viewport, they watched the forest change. Here the trees grew even taller, their blue-green tops reaching into the clouds. Strange airborne creatures with transparent wings floated between branches. It's beautiful, Nari said. I've never been this far north before. The outpost is just ahead, Hyun replied. We should land in the clearing to a sharp alarm. Cut him off. Red lights flashed on the control panel. Electromagnetic surge, Nari called out, her skin flashing with alarm. Much stronger than the reading suggested. Hyun grabbed the controls tightly as the vessel began to shake. Hold on! The vessel lurched violently to one side. The engine made a terrible grinding noise. Through the viewport they could see blue-white energy crackling around them. We're losing power. Hyun fought with the controls, trying to keep them level. I'm going to try to set us down in that clearing. The vessel dropped rapidly. Hyun managed to level it just before impact. They hit the ground hard, skidding through underbrush before coming to a stop at the edge of a small lake. Silence filled the cabin. Slowly, Hyun turned to check on Nari. She was slumped in her seat. Nari, are you okay? His heart raced with fear. Her skin flickered, then began to glow again. I'm not hurt, she said. Just shaken. Are you all right? Hyun did. A quick check of his body. His back brace had held firm, though pain radiated through his spine from the impact. I'll be fine, he said, but the vessel won't fly again soon. They climbed out to assess the damage. The vessel's left side was badly dented, and the engine compartment smoked slightly. The communication system is down too, Nari said after checking the controls. We can't call the station for help. Hyun looked at the sky. Dark clouds were forming, crackling with the same blue-white energy that had disabled their vessel. The outpost is about 5 kilometers from here, he said. We can walk there before the storm gets worse. Walk? Nari looked worried. Are you? Sure your back can handle it. Hyun adjusted his brace and nodded. I don't think we have a choice. They gathered emergency supplies and set out. The forest was dense here, the ground uneven. Hyun walked carefully, using a fallen branch as a walking stick. Nari moved gracefully beside him, her natural Lumidian agility helping her navigate the rough terrain. "Tell me about Earth," she said after they had walked in silence for a while. "Is it very different from here?" Hyun smiled, grateful for the distraction from the growing pain in his back. "Parts of it look similar to Talaris, but Earth has more variety. Deserts, ice regions, grasslands, mountains, deep oceans." "It sounds wonderful," Nari said. "On Lumidia, most of our world looks the same. Glowing crystal forests and shallow seas everywhere you go." "But your people glow like the forests," Hyun said. "That must be beautiful to see." Nari's skin brightened at the compliment. "When we gather for celebrations, thousands of us glow together in patterns. It's our way of sharing stories." "I'd like to see that someday," Hyun said softly. They walked for 2 hours. The storm grew closer, the air heavy, with energy. Hyun's limp became more pronounced and sweat beaded on his forehead. "We should rest," Nari said, noticing his pain. "No time," Hyun replied through gritted teeth. "Storm's coming fast." In the distance, they finally spotted the outpost, a small, metal building on a hill. Just then, the sky erupted with blue lightning. Thunder cracked so loudly they both covered their ears. Rain began to fall, heavy and cold. "Run!" Hyun shouted. They raced toward the outpost, slipping on wet ground. The lightning struck closer now, hitting trees around them. One massive bolt hit a tree just ahead, splitting it down the middle. Half the tree began to fall directly in their path. "Not again," Hyun muttered. This time he grabbed Nari's hand and pulled her sideways. Together, they dodged the falling trunk and kept running. Finally, they reached the outpost door. Hyun punched in his access code and they tumbled inside just as the storm reached its full strength. The outpost was small, but well equipped with a power generator, food supplies, communication equipment, and 2 small beds. Hyun immediately went to the main console while Nari closed and secured the door. "The power's still working," he said with relief. "I'll activate the sensors so we can measure the magnetic anomaly. And I'll try to contact the station," Nari added. They worked side by side as the storm raged outside. Hours passed. Night fell. The communication system remained silent. The storm blocked all signals. "We'll have to wait it out," Hyun finally said, sitting heavily on one of the beds. His face was pale with exhaustion and pain. Nari sat beside him. "You should rest. Let me help you with your brace." Hesitantly, Hyun allowed her to help him remove the supportive device. Her slender fingers worked carefully, respectfully. "Thank you," he said, "for coming with me, for helping with the moss, for everything." Nari's skin glowed softly in the dim light of the outpost. "You saved my life, Hyun. I haven't forgotten." Outside, the storm continued through the night. Inside, as Hyun finally slept, Nari watched over him. She noticed how his face relaxed in sleep, how very human he looked. So different from her people, yet somehow familiar now. Something was changing between them. Something neither of them had expected when they first met on the research station 6 months ago. Something that might bridge the gap between their 2 very different worlds. The large moon of Talaris shone bright blue in the morning sky. Hyun checked his oxygen levels one more time before stepping out of the airlock. The air here was breathable, but thin. The extra oxygen helped during long research trips into the forest. Atmosphere stable. Gravity at 0.82 Earth standard. "Have a productive expedition, researcher Hyun," said the station computer. Hyun smiled and adjusted his backpack. Today was collection day. After 3 weeks of watching the purple moss grow on the north side of the giant trees, he could finally take samples back to his lab. If his theory was right, this moss could help clean pollution on at least 7 planets. The research station, Harmonic Convergence, sat in a clearing surrounded by trees taller than Earth's redwoods. Unlike Earth trees, these had blue-green bark and released tiny light particles that made the forest sparkle when the wind blew. Hyun had been at the station for 8 months now. As one of only 3 humans among 27 alien researchers, he sometimes felt lonely. but the work was too important to worry about that. He walked down the metal ramp and headed toward the forest path. The station looked like a silver starfish, from the outside with 5 arms extending from a central hub. Each arm housed labs and living quarters for different species, designed for their unique needs. Researcher Hyun, wait. Hyun turned to see a slender figure hurrying down the ramp. Behind him, it was Nari, one of the Lumidian researchers. Lumidians were humanoid but taller and thinner than humans. Their skin had a faint blue glow that brightened when they were excited or happy. Right now, Nari was practically shining. "Good morning, Nari," Hyun said, waiting for her to catch up. "You're up early." Nari's skin dimmed slightly as she caught her breath. Lumidians had more delicate bodies than humans. Their bones were lighter, almost hollow like birds. This made them graceful, but easily tired. "Director June approved my request to join your expedition today," she said, her voice musical with the slight echo all Lumidians had. "My research on light-producing organisms overlaps with your moss study. I hope you don't mind company." Hyun didn't mind at all. Nari was smart and kind. Of all the alien species on the station, Lumidians were the most similar to humans in personality, despite their physical differences. "That's great," he said. "The northern sample site is about an hour's walk. We should reach it before the midday heat." They walked together down the forest path. Nari moved with the natural grace of her species, while Hyun's steps were heavier, more solid. They talked about their research and home planets. "Your world has such heavy gravity," Nari said. "No wonder humans have such dense bone structures." "And your world's double suns must make for interesting days," Hyun replied. "I'd like to visit Lumidia someday if diplomatic relations keep improving." "Perhaps you will," Nari said, her skin brightening briefly. "Our Council of Elders has been impressed with human adaptability. That's partly why I was so interested in your moss research. You look for ways to adapt to problems rather than avoid them." The forest grew denser as they walked north. The trees here were older, their trunks wider than houses. The moss Hyun studied grew thickest on these ancient giants. "We're almost there," Hyun said, checking his data pad. "Just past this grove." Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the forest. Birds with 6 wings scattered from the trees, shrieking alarm calls. "What was that?" Nari asked, her skin dimming with concern. "Gravity fluctuation. The moon passes through. Teleris's magnetic field this time of month creates disturbances." Hyun frowned at his instruments. "But this reading is stronger than normal." Another rumble, louder this time. The ground beneath them trembled. "We should head back," Hyun said, turning around. "This doesn't feel right." They had only taken a few steps when a terrible cracking sound split the air. Hyun looked up. One of the massive tree branches above them was breaking free, torn loose by the gravity wave. It was bigger than a shuttlecraft, and it was falling directly toward them. No, not toward them. Toward Nari. Hyun didn't think. He moved on instinct, launching himself at Nari. His stronger human muscles propelled him forward as he shoved her clear of the falling branch's path. The relief at seeing her safely tumble aside lasted only a split second before pain exploded through Hyun's body. The massive branch had caught him instead, crushing him to the ground with its enormous weight. The world spun, then darkened. The last thing Hyun heard was Nari's scream. Hyun woke to bright lights and the antiseptic smell of the medical bay. He tried to move but couldn't feel his legs. Panic flooded through him. "Please remain still, Researcher Hyun." The calm voice belonged to Dr. Day, the Lumidian medical officer. Her usually bright skin was dim with concern. "You have sustained serious injuries." Hyun tried to speak, but his throat was dry. A human nurse, Suk, held a water cup to his lips. "Nari?" he managed to ask after drinking. "She is unharmed, thanks to your actions," Dr. Day said. "But you—" The doctor paused, mandible plates clicking together in the Lumidian expression of distress. Director June stepped forward. He was the station administrator, one of the other humans on board. "Hyun, your spine was crushed at the T12 vertebra," June said. his face grave. Dr. Day and the medical team have stabilized you, but the damage is severe. Can't feel my legs, Hyun said. Dr. Day's skin pulsed with soft, sad light. On my world, such an injury would mean certain death. Your human physiology is more robust, but I fear recovery is... She trailed off. We're arranging transport back to Earth, June said. Our facilities aren't equipped for this level of human spinal trauma. Earth medical technology is your best hope. Hyun closed his eyes. Earth was 2 months' journey away. His research, his work, everything would be left unfinished. The door to the medical bay slid open, and Nari entered. Her skin was dimmed to an almost gray blue, the Lumidian sign of deep distress. When she saw Hyun was awake, small pulses of light traveled across her skin. You saved my life, she said, moving to his bedside. Why would you do that? You barely know me. Hyun managed. A weak smile. It's what anyone would do. Dr. Day made a soft clicking sound. Not anyone. Most species calculate risk before action. Humans often don't. The transport ship arrives tomorrow, June said. The Earth doctors will be informed of your condition. They'll be ready when you arrive. After they left, only Nari remained by Hyun's bed. Her slender fingers touched his hand lightly. I will never forget what you did, she said softly. In my culture, such a debt can never truly be repaid. No debt, Hyun said, fighting to stay awake as the pain medication pulled him toward sleep. Just glad you're safe. As he drifted off, he heard Nari's voice, soft and determined. You will walk again, Hyun. Somehow you will. He wanted to tell her that with a spinal injury this severe, that was impossible, but sleep claimed him before he could speak. In the observation room adjoining the medical bay, the station's alien scientists watched the monitors displaying Hyun's vital signs. Such fragile beings in some ways, remarked Jin, the Caraxian geologist, yet they throw themselves into danger without calculation. Perhaps that is their strength, not their weakness, Dr. Day replied, her skin pulsing thoughtfully. We shall see. None of them believed they would ever see Hyun return to Talaris. None of them could imagine a being walking again after such catastrophic damage. They were about to learn how little they understood about humans. 3 days passed before the rescue team from Harmonic Convergence reached the outpost. By then the storm had cleared, and Hyun and Nari had collected valuable data about the magnetic anomaly. More importantly, they had grown closer in ways neither had expected. When they returned to the station, everyone noticed the change. The universal translators sometimes struggled with the new patterns in their speech, patterns that suggested deeper feelings than mere friendship. They speak to each other differently now, Jin observed to Dr. Day as they watched Hyun and Nari work together in Lab 3. The translator keeps showing emotional subtext warnings. Dr. Day's skin pulsed with concern. A human and a Lumidian? Is such a connection even possible? News of their growing relationship spread quickly through the station. Most researchers found it fascinating, a new form of cross-species communication to study. But not everyone approved. 2 weeks after their return from the outpost, Director June called Hyun to his office. I've received a message from Earth Command, June said, looking uncomfortable. Your family has expressed concerns about your friendship with researcher Nari. Hyun frowned. My family? How do they even know about Nari? Your medical reports mentioned her assistance during your recovery, and station communications are monitored. June handed Hyun a data pad. They've sent a formal request for you to return to Earth for further medical evaluation. Hyun read the message twice. His parents hadn't even contacted him directly. They had gone through official channels claiming concern for his health. This isn't about my back, he said quietly. They're worried about me getting close to a non-human. June nodded. Earth is still adjusting to galactic relations. Many humans are uncomfortable with the idea of close connections between species. I'm not going back, Hyun said firmly. My work here is important, and my personal relationships are not Earth Command's business. Later that day, Nari faced similar pressure. Ambassador Eun, the Lumidian government representative, requested a private meeting with her. Your clan elders have contacted me, Yoon told Nari. Her skin glowed a formal, official blue. They are concerned about reports of your interactions with the human researcher. Nari's skin dimmed with embarrassment. We work closely together. That's all. The elders don't believe that's all, Yoon said. They request that if you wish to pursue a deeper connection with this human, he must undergo the traditional bonding rituals on Lumidia. Nari knew what this meant. The rituals involved exposure to Lumidian bioluminescent energy, harmless to her people but potentially dangerous to humans with their different biology. That could harm him, she protested. His nervous system isn't designed to handle our energy patterns. Ambassador Yoon's skin pulsed with sympathy. That is precisely the elder's point, young one. Some differences cannot be bridged. That evening, Hyun and Nari met in the station's observatory dome. Through the clear ceiling, they could see Talaris's twin moons rising over the forest. They sat in silence for a while, both troubled by the day's events. My family wants me to return to Earth, Hyun finally said. They're worried about us. Nari's skin dimmed. My clan elders want you to undergo bonding rituals that could harm you. She turned to face him. What are we doing, Hyun? Is this even possible? A human and a Lumidian? Hyun reached out slowly and touched her hand. Her skin brightened at the contact. I don't know, he admitted. But I know that when I'm with you, I feel something I've never felt before, something that feels important. Before Nari could respond, the observatory door slid open. Jin entered, looking worried. You both need to see this, he said. The Galactic News Network is broadcasting a story about you. They followed Jin to the main common area, where several researchers gathered around the large screen. A news reporter was speaking. The first documented case of human-Lumidian pair bonding has sparked debate throughout the Galactic Council. Some representatives praise it as the natural evolution of interspecies diplomacy, while others express concerns about biological compatibility and cultural contamination. The screen showed pictures of Hyun and Nari, taken during their work at the station. How did they get those images? Hyun asked, shocked. Someone on the station must have sent them, Director Jun said, entering the room. I'm sorry. I tried to keep this private. The news continued. The Galactic Ethics Committee has announced a special session to establish guidelines for interspecies relationships, using the human Lumidian case as their primary study. Nari's skin flashed with anger, a rare emotion for Lumidians. They're discussing us like we're lab specimens. In the following days, the situation grew worse. Messages flooded in from Earth and Lumidia. Scientists wanted interviews. Religious leaders from both worlds issued statements, some supportive, others condemning. Hyun's family sent increasingly worried messages about genetic incompatibility and the impossibility of children. The pressure began to affect their work. Hyun grew quieter, more withdrawn. The stress took a toll on his still healing body. The pain in his back returned, stronger than before. One morning, during a routine checkup, Dr. Day made a disturbing discovery. Your neural interface is showing signs of degradation, she told Hyun, studying her scanner with concern. Talaris's radiation is affecting it differently than Earth doctors predicted. Can you fix it? Hyun asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Dr. Day's skin dimmed to a dark blue. This technology is beyond my expertise. You need Earth medical care. How long do I have before it fails completely? A few months, perhaps less. Dr. Day hesitated. If it fails, the pain will return and you may lose some mobility again. Hyun thanked her and left the medical bay. He didn't tell Nari about this new problem. She already carried enough guilt about his original injury, and with everything else happening, he couldn't bear to add to her worries. Instead, he buried himself in work. The purple moss research was showing promising results. Several polluted worlds had already expressed interest in testing it. A week later, Earth Command sent an official notice. Hyun was requested to join a video conference with the Ao, visiting Earth Science Minister, who had arrived at the nearby space station. It was a major honor, potentially a chance to showcase his research to Earth's scientific leaders. The conference was scheduled in the main presentation hall. Many station researchers attended to support Hyun, including Nari, who sat in the front. Bro Hyun stood at the podium, displaying charts and images of the purple moss. As he explained its properties, a sharp pain shot through his spine. He gripped the podium tightly, but continued speaking. Halfway through his presentation, the pain became unbearable. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead. The room began to spin. And in conclusion, Hyun's voice faltered. The last thing he saw before collapsing was Nari rushing toward him, her skin flashing with fear. He woke in the medical bay with Dr. Day and Nari standing over him. The neural interface has failed completely, Dr. Day said gently. I've managed to stabilize you for now, but I need to return to Earth. Hyun finished. He looked at Nari, whose skin was dimmed almost to gray with distress. I guess my family gets their wish after all. No, Nari said firmly. Her skin suddenly brightened with determination. There must be another way. As Hyun drifted back to sleep, Nari turned to Dr. Day. Contact Earth's neurosurgeons, she said, and get me the leading bioengineers on Lumidia. I have an idea. For 3 days, Hyun drifted in and out of sleep in the medical bay. The pain medication made his thoughts foggy. Sometimes he heard voices around him. Dr. Day speaking rapidly, Director June arguing with someone, and always, Nari's musical voice nearby. On the 4th day, he woke fully alert. Nari sat beside his bed, her skin glowing softly in the dim room. You're still here, Hyun said, his voice rough from disuse. Nari's skin brightened. Always. Dr. Day entered the room, followed by Director June and a tall Lumidian that Hyun didn't recognize. This is Dr. Min, Nari said, the leading neural specialist from Lumidia. The tall Lumidian nodded respectfully. Researcher Hyun, your situation is most interesting. That's one word for it, Hyun said with a weak smile. Dr. Day stepped forward with a data pad. Hyun, while you were recovering, Nari has been working on something, a possible solution to your neural interface failure. Hyun looked at Nari with surprise. Her skin pulsed with nervous energy. I contacted Earth's top neurosurgeons, she explained, and Dr. Min agreed to travel here immediately when he heard about your case. We believe we can create a new type of neural interface, and Dr. Min said, one that combines human medical technology with Lumidian bioluminescent neural pathways. Dr. Day continued, Earth doctors have been attempting similar cross-species medical adaptations, but never with Lumidian biology. The light-based neural systems of Lumidians could potentially work with human nerve structures. Hyun looked between them, trying to understand. You want to put Lumidian part in my spine? Not exactly parts, Dr. Min explained. Lumidian neural tissue generates bioluminescent energy that can carry signals similar to human nerve impulses, but through light instead of electrochemical reactions. Director June spoke up. Earth Medical Command has approved the procedure. They're sending their top spinal surgeon on the next transport. She arrives tomorrow. Hyun felt overwhelmed. He turned to Nari. You did all this while I was sleeping? Nari nodded, her skin glowing brighter. I couldn't let you go back to Earth, not when there might be another way. But the procedure is still experimental, Dr. Day warned. The success rate is calculated at only 43%, and there are risks. What risks? Hyun asked. The doctors exchanged glances. Finally, Dr. Min spoke. The neural tissue must come from a living Lumidian donor. The donor faces some risk of neural damage themselves. Hyun immediately understood. He looked at Nari. No, absolutely not. I've already volunteered, Nari said firmly. It's my choice. You could be hurt, Hyun argued. You could lose some of your own neural function. Your light patterns might be affected, she finished. But I won't lose basic function, and you would walk again, really walk, without pain. Hyun shook his head. I won't let you take that risk for me. Nari's skin flashed bright blue, the Lumidian expression of strong emotion. You took a greater risk for me when you pushed me out of the way of that falling branch. You didn't even know me then." The room fell silent. Finally, Dr. Day spoke. "Perhaps you should discuss this privately. Dr. Min and I will prepare for the Earth surgeon's arrival, just in case." When they were alone, Hyun reached for Nari's hand. "Why would you do this?" Nari's skin glowed with a soft, steady light. "Because I love you," she said simply. "That's what the universal translator has been trying to say. That's what my light patterns have been showing." Hyun felt his eyes grow wet with tears. "I love you too. That's why I can't let you risk yourself. For me. It's not just for you," Nari said. "It's for us, and for everyone like us who might come after. This could be the first true joining of our species, not just in feelings but in biology." The next day, the Earth surgeon arrived. Dr. Park was a small, serious woman with quick movements and sharp eyes. She spent hours reviewing Hyun's medical files and discussing the procedure with Dr. Day and Dr. Min. Finally, they presented the full plan to Hyun. The procedure would take 8 hours. Nari would be in one operating room while Hyun was in another. The neural tissue would be transferred immediately through a special chamber that maintained its light properties. "If this works," Dr. Park explained, "the Lumidian neural tissue will integrate with your damaged spine. Over time, it should create new pathways for nerve signals. You'll need rehabilitation, but you should walk without pain again." "And if it doesn't work?" Hyun asked. "Then you'll be no worse than you are." "Now," Dr. Min said, "we can remove the tissue and you can receive conventional treatment on Earth." Hyun looked at Nari. Her skin glowed with calm determination. He thought about their time together, in the lab, in the forest, in the northern outpost during the storm. He thought about the future they might have if this worked. "Okay," he said at last. "Let's do it." The day of the surgery arrived. As the medical team prepared, news of the unprecedented procedure spread throughout the galaxy. Scientists from dozens of worlds sent messages, offering advice or requesting to observe. Before they were taken to separate operating rooms, Hyun and Nari had a moment alone. "No matter what happens," Hyun said, "know that you changed my life. From the moment we met." Nari's skin pulsed with soft blue light. "And you mine. I'll see you soon." The next thing Hyun knew, he was waking up in recovery. Dr. Day stood beside his bed, her skin glowing bright with excitement. "It worked," she said before he could ask. "The integration is successful. Your body has accepted the Lumidian neural tissue." "Nari?" Hyun's voice was weak. "She's recovering well," Dr. Day assured him. "The tissue donation was smaller than expected. Her neural functions are already regenerating." Over the next month, Hyun and Nari both recovered. Hyun worked hard in physical therapy, learning to walk with his new neural pathways. At first it felt strange. Tingling sensations ran up and down his spine, especially when Nari was nearby. Then they discovered something unexpected. When they were close to each other, Hyun's back began to glow faintly. The Lumidian neural tissue responding to Nari's presence. And Nari could sense Hyun's physical state through subtle changes in that glow. A true bond, Dr. Min called it, beyond anything we anticipated. 6 months later, Hyun stood at a podium again, this time without pain or fear of collapse. He and Nari had been asked to speak at the opening of the new cross-species medical research center, built on the Harmonic Convergence Station. The room was filled with scientists and diplomats from dozens of worlds. In the front row sat Hyun's parents, who had finally traveled from Earth to meet Nari. Behind them were representatives from the Lumidian Council of Elders, including Nari's clan leaders. "When I first came to Talaris," Hyun began, "I wanted to study how plants from different worlds could help each other grow. I never expected to learn that people from different worlds could do the same." Nari stood beside him, her skin glowing with pride and love. As she stepped forward to speak, Hyun turned slightly, allowing everyone to see the faint blue glow visible through his white shirt, right where his spine had once been broken. In the audience, Jin leaned toward Dr. Day. "Did you ever imagine, when we first met humans, that we would end up here?" "Never," Dr. Day admitted. I thought they were fragile creatures. Now I know better. They don't break, they adapt. And they help us adapt too. After the ceremony, Hyun and Nari walked together through the station's garden dome. News had just arrived that 3 more human-alien couples had requested similar medical procedures, not out of necessity, but out of desire for the same deep connection. What do we do now? Nari asked, her skin glowing softly in the artificial twilight. Hyun smiled and took her hand. Where their skin touched, both of them glowed a little brighter. Now we explore, he said. There's a whole galaxy out there, and we've just discovered a new way to see it. Together. Above them, through the clear dome, the stars of countless worlds twinkled. And on many of those worlds, people were telling the story of the human who walked after a broken spine, and the alien who helped make it possible.